Good morning and welcome, everyone. We sure do appreciate you all joining us today for our last live session of the week. This has really been an amazing week, and we have been so happy to bring you all the financial literacy classes that you all have been eager for. But this is it. This is the important class of the day, something that we know that you all are very interested in. We have with us who's Miss Lisa Woolard, and she's a realtor with the home approval team, Keller Williams. And you all are in for an amazing treat today. Lisa has a wealth of knowledge, and we are so thankful that she came here and decided to share with us. Again, this is the last event of the week, but if you all missed previous sessions, please know that they have been recorded and they're available on our website. So you can go back and you can view these classes on demand in the privacy of your own home. Now, we all understand and know that buying a home is an important milestone for anyone, but it can be intimidating when you're not sure what to expect, especially in these uncertain times of higher list prices and lower interest rates. So the decision to buy a house, it very well may feel overwhelming. Um, but we have an expert here who's going to tune you all in to the steps to buying a home, especially in an aggressive housing market. So at this time, I am going to turn it over to Miss Lisa Woolard.
Hey guys. I first want to just thank you for taking this time and spending it with us and just educating yourself and putting your family in a better position with home ownership because it is one of the largest purchases that you will make in this lifetime. But the great thing about it, it's an automatic savings as well as what I love to call about it because you're building equity as you're making those mortgage payments monthly instead of when you're paying rent. We know that that's basically free money that we're just giving away because we make no return on that at the end of the month or at the end of the year. So we're getting a tax write-off. I always like to start and just say I want to be respectful of your time and appreciative of that time. And I always want to address the questions that you guys may have, so I know you're getting the most out of this class. So if you have any questions, you definitely can ask them, or you can put them in the chat, and Miss Aretha will read them for me. But I'll just start kind of listing some of those 10 chapters. I'll kind of glide over to my notes real quickly. Those 10 steps when buying a home, the very first thing that you definitely would love to do is to sit down with a realtor. And I know some people say sit with your lender first, but I believe your best option is to sit with a realtor because we can kind of guide you of which lender to go with. Every lender is not the same, and the programs and the options they're going to be able to do. So to be as useful that, sit down with a realtor and have that consultation and definitely discuss your family home go needs. That's it on there. The second thing you're going to do from there is indefinitely speak with a lender. That agent will be able to take you with the lender that's going to be able to talk about home buying programs if that's a need for you and your family. Educator, first responders, firefighter programs that we do have available. Different programs, and sometimes not even having to be a first-time homeowner. You've already owned your home and you're trying to transition to a home that fits you and your family needs now. So they'll be able to tell you about programs that way. And then just making sure you're qualified. One of the biggest myths that we do here is that you need 20% down to buy a home, and that is so not true. And then understanding the different programs. We have programs for our veterans. If you're buying in your rural area, different things like that, your FHA and your conventional. So you can talk about that. The step that you spend the most time in is step 3, finding that home. Because during that buyer's consult, we've asked you, hopefully, 150 questions to get down to the nit and gritty. And so that way, when we're out there searching, we are definitely finding the home that's going to be the most beneficial to you and your family needs, and hopefully reduce some of that stress, but maximize your buying power, but being respectful to the budget. That is very important to me. And then, your next step is when you're going, definitely you've won that house, you're calling, you're super, super excited. And then preparing you what we do in the midst of that afterwards, getting that inspection order, getting our documents to our lender, definitely setting up for our appraisal. Ordering your inspection is that next big step. And the inspector's job is to interpret that home, really look at that home from top to bottom and tell you any concerns that it has. The next step is, now if you made it through that inspection, you're going in and getting all your documents, updating your lender, because sometimes from step 3 to that, that step 4 of finding that home, you could have had some downloads, but so we need to always make sure our paperwork is updated and getting that information reviewed. Your documents are reviewed several times before you're locking in your rate. Hopefully by now, we next ordered our appraisal, came in and making sure that home is the same value that you agreed to offer on this price, and making sure it fits what your loan is approved for. And if that is good to go, we go into underwriting. You're with your underwriter, kind of going through that final stress, removing that, getting that final number, knowing what your interest rate is, knowing what that final loan amount is going to be, knowing what your final number you're going to bring to closing. And in the back scene, you're working on getting your insurance documents in, see who's going to provide you the best rate for homeowners insurance, getting that home protected, because we want that. Also having your escrow officer look at that and go through your title, making sure everything is free and clear, and everything is in line with what we envisioned on there for that home. My favorite step you want to hear is you're clear to close. We are clear to close. That means, Lisa, I'm officially 3 days from being at that closing table, signing my documents saying, give me my keys. I'm a homeowner. And you're getting your disclosures and different things like that from there. And we're also doing your final walkthrough, because sometimes it might have been 30 days, it could have been 40 days since you last seen that home, and we want to make sure it's still in the condition that we agreed to purchase it in. And if the seller is moving out, if it was occupied, that they've left everything that we've agreed for them to leave. Sometimes if you're doing the lease back, it's not uncommon in this market, you're just going in to make sure the repairs that we might have agreed on is done. Then we're at closing day. We're super excited. We got the family there. We're ready. We are signing for ownership, transferring that title from that current seller to me as the buyer, and going through that. And then we talk to you at that time of protecting that investment. What are your options to making sure you have that coverage? Because it's so much more than homeowners insurance. It's also, you want to get some insurance policy to offer protection on there. It could be some appliance warranty protection on your home as well. And then you're ready. You're saying, we're meeting a couple hours later and getting those keys and signing, and you're moving in. You're ready to do the move in of it. So that's kind of a high level overview, just for the sake of time, to kind of tell you that. But when we do a buyer's consult, we really, really, really break down those steps with you, and really, really break down what you and your family is wanting. Aretha, do we have any questions in there, or is anything they want me to kind of go more in detailed?
Yes, I do have some questions for you, Lisa. First, let me say that was some great nuggets, good information for people that are out there and starting the home buying process. I'd like to ask you, when we talk about affordability, we're usually focused on the mortgage aspect, but how do other aspects, like the results of a home inspection or home location, property taxes, how do they affect long-term affordability?
They tremendously affected, if you ask me, because what you're looking for is, we always want to make sure that we're comfortable with everything that we're doing, making sure that mortgage company payment is comfortable payment, that what you put into that budget. You also want to look and see what your taxes are going to be, because your mortgage is locked in on a fixed interest rate, but taxes and insurance can affect that payment every year. Okay. So you want to look at what that cost of that area is and the growth of that area. And so, because you're going to resell, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 30 years from now, you want to make sure that home is in an area that is thriving, investable, where people want to drive into and drive traffic to. So you're getting a good return on your dollar. So you're looking at that. You also want to make sure that in the home inspection that things are addressed, because when you purchase a home, you're coming out of a good sum of money at that initial aspect of it, with the down payment, your closing costs and all that. And so your goal is to really not to be hit with any additional fees within that year. You know, you don't want anything to break down on you. You know, the goal is, we hope, but life and homes have normal wear and tear. They really do.
Yes. All right. So what should buyers look for in an agent? What kind of things should they be looking for when they go out for looking for an agent?
For me, I need communication, and also I need the energy. As you can tell, I'm definitely a high I. So I need you to reduce some of that stress, some of that worry I have in it, make that experience fun and lively for me. But I need to make sure you're approachable too. I don't want to be intimidating with asking any of my questions and concerns, and I don't want to feel like it's not being addressed. My voice is not heard, because this purchase is not about me, the agent, the loan officer, the inspector, the escrow officer. It is about you and your family, and you need to be 100% comfortable and confident. My favorite quote or saying is, an educated consumer is the best consumer, because the more you know about this process, the better you are and the more secure you are. And I don't care if you ask me that question 110 times, 50 different ways, it should always be answered to you where a level where you're very comfortable with it. By the end of this process, I should be saying, are you trying to take my job? Are you trying to take my job? Because you should feel that confident in everything that you're doing. So you want someone that is knowledgeable, very educated in this process with you, willing to share that knowledge with you, very communicative with you, and available. This market, houses are flying off quickly, rapidly. You want someone that can be able to show you when you need to be seen or when that house is coming available. You know, some flexibility to work with your schedule.
Very good. And I'm so glad.
Trustworthy. Trustworthy
Yes,
too. I need to trust
trustworthy.
you.
I'm so glad you hit on being educated about the home buying process. This is something, as a counselor, that Porfirio and I, we hit on this every time in a counseling session, which is why we tell our clients it's so very important that they come to all these classes that we're having. And they say, first thing they'll ask is, well, how many classes I have to come to? Every last one. You can do the classes over and over again. We want to drill it in your head. You know, you need to know this information. There
You
are
do.
a lot of people out there. There are a lot of good people. There are a lot of bad people. And you want to make sure that people are doing right by you during this whole process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The one thing that I love about y'all classes, and of course, I've partnered with Habitat a long time, even before real estate, is because of how committed you are to the community and educating the community and driving back into the community. But you definitely want to know, understanding your budget. You want to understand your credit report. You want to understand your responsibilities when you're purchasing a home. You want to understand that nothing should be a surprise to you when you're doing it. Now, should you need a high level overview and then you're getting more in depth in this? Yes, but you want to be secure. Definitely pay attention to that budget class. You can take that yearly, even after you buy a home, because when you respect the budget, you can get a lot more. And I encourage you to have your kids involved in this process. I'm telling you, I love it. My baby yesterday, and she's, because all the kids know about their stimulus check. She closed. Now, when she first started, she was using her stimulus to get her backyard. That was her words to her parents. She was using her stimulus to buy her house to get her backyard. So when she came in there with her little purse yesterday and was ready for her closing, I was like, you happy with your backyard? You happy with your room? Was it worth it? let the kids know what you're sacrificing. Let them know why we have to have a budget and what we're following and planning for it. This is, financial literacy month. They want that. They understand money, and it helps them prepare them for years down the line. A budget shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
Yes, good information. So realistically, how feasible is it to find inventory today under 200,000 right now?
That's a challenge. Under $200,000, it's an extreme challenge. Not only are you competing with the few that are on there under that market, you're also competing with cash investors that can come in and just purchase those properties. There are a few areas that do offer that, but very few, very few. Our market is a little bit higher than 200,000. So.
Well, I can say that this is where Dallas Habitat can come in and help you, right? Because we do have homes that are under 200,000, but we also offer a 0% loan product, which makes it much more affordable. And Dallas Habitat will also provide you with $8,000 in down payment assistance. So we are an affordable home buying program. So we don't want you to miss out on Dallas Habitat, because we are doing a thing here.
Let me answer a couple questions, because I do see the chat. So let me answer a couple questions. One, someone asked about the 20%. Is that not necessary? How much do I really need to have to put down on a home? No, that's a old myth. It's a good one. Let me tell you what it is, though. So you, on an FHA loan, you could put 3.5% down. That's a minimum requirement for down payment. On a conventional, we still have programs that are 3%. Veterans, thank you for your service. We truly appreciate the opportunities that you make available to us here in our country. So you're honored to do a 0%. Rural areas, they do a 0%. The benefit, if you can put down 20%, if you can, you get rid of your MI, mortgage insurance protection, that is on your loan. However, in this market, even if your credit score is higher, 680 or higher, 700 is greater, you can put down lower than that and still get the best effect with MI. Someone else asked, should I go? What's the perfect credit score to buy a home? If you're buying a home, I'm gonna really recommend you be a 640 or higher. There are programs out here that let you do it 580, but the DTI, debt to income ratio, is higher, and the interest rate is higher. Then you're not able to take advantage of any of the home buyer programs. Whether you use those first-time home buyer programs or not, you want to be able to take advantage of them if you need to. Okay. Next question.
There's one that from Sam. He says, do you advise going with a friend that's a realtor?
That's the one I was getting ready to get to. Okay, so that's going to be, I hope to be your friend. I have clients that I've been with for years, and we're their friends. I've been to weddings, I've been to divorce, I've been to baby showers, I've been to dedications, I've been to everything, Christmas, holidays, all that. It's nothing wrong with going with your friend. You just want to make sure we remove that friendship at that time. This is a business. This is an investment. You want to make sure you are treated and respected at the same level of service with any other client. Okay? That is it. And you want to make sure they're knowledgeable. The biggest fear people have with going with a friend is they're going to know all my personal information. Well, as a realtor, no, I don't. All I really need to know is what you're approved for. That's all I really need to know. And how much money you have to invest into this deal, okay? But what your credit score is, how much money you got in your savings, if you put in a first-time home buyer program, we really don't need to know that. Your lender needs to know that. Now, my clients do share that information with me because we want to know what's our biggest strategy in putting our money to best use. So we're looking at it. And I come with a mortgage background. So I do ask a little bit more personal questions to see how do we strategize the most of using your funds that you have? What can we use? Is it better to use a down payment assistance program? Is it better for me to use only my money because I can get a lower rate? Do I need to be able to offset some of my costs in the seller in this competitive market? So some of those questions are really helpful, but not needed. So if If you can be respectful to that and you know your friend is going to treat you like a client until that transaction is over, go with it. Don't discourage it for that. I know that's, I want, I'm friends with several of my clients. I've been doing this 15 years. So if they say we not friends, I'm hurt. So yeah, just check the knowledge, ask your friend, and be very, very honest. We're having a very honest conversation here.
Yeah. I see a question from Rochelle. She's asking, how does the process differ if I'm working with Habitat? So with Dallas Habitat, Rochelle, you'll have the option of purchasing our available inventory or buying on the open market. The choice is strictly up to you. If you choose to buy on the open market, your housing counselor will refer you out to our partner lenders and our partner realtors, such as Lisa. So you will work with one of them, okay? But with Dallas Habitat, we get you over to our sales rep and they will let you know what you can afford based on your pre-approval from our in-house lender, okay?
And I'll tell you guys, let me explain something to you. Dallas is a thriving market, okay? We are thriving. So, and I'm gonna tell you again, the average time frame in a home is 7 to 10 years. And if you look at the recent studies, it's really only 5 to 7. So I ask my clients, when we're going into a home, can you envision yourself here for 5 to 7 years? And if you're under a budget under 200, don't stress yourself out and say, this is not an option for me, because it is. But what you then have to do is be open-minded. I have some clients that we've moved in some areas that at one time was not as desirable for it, but we know the 5-year plan. Just like Oak Cliff, some people are moving back in Oak Cliff. Why? Because Oak Cliff is where the money is. Okay, what is the investments that they're doing to drive traffic more? One of my cousins, we sold a home only for 185. That house is now 387 or something like that now in Oak Cliff, West Dallas.
Yes.
Baby, you can't even get a house under $200,000 in West Dallas, where you could a couple years ago. So think of the money they're sitting on. So if you're on a budget, be respectful to your budget. Don't go in here and be, unfortunately, the term is house poor, where every dime is pouring out to your home. That's nowhere to live. That's no excitement. That's nothing for you. Who wants to go to work every day and know that it's all just for the house? Ask yourself, what's the area that I might have to be respectful to that budget in under $200,000, and can I make it work? What am I willing to compromise? One thing I'll ask you when you do a buyer's consult with me, what's your 5 must-haves? What are the 5 things that are the deal breakers for you when we come into a house? And be very detailed in those 5 must-haves, okay? Yeah. Somebody else asks about rural. Is rural good? I think you're asking for lower property tax. Yeah, rural does have a little bit less property tax, but it's still driving. It's still driving. Area and a lot of rural, you can't get under 200,000 is either. So consider that on that part of it.
Now, so many first-time home buyers, they set out to find that forever home in the very first home. Why can this be a mistake or hold them back?
Because I moved twice and ready to move again. Because I grew up like that. You know, my grandparents still own the home that we've all grown up in. My parents own the home that we've all grown up in. And so you thought that this is going to be your forever home. But let's be honest, life changes. Mm-hmm. When I first started our home, it was just me and my husband and one baby. So we thought, oh, we could just get this home. My very first home, it was choice. They don't even build. So that's going to tell you my age right there. You know, it was 1,300. It was 1,400 square feet, 1,400 square feet. And I was like, this is it. This is what we're going to do. Well, then we had the second child. Well, where was she going? Now she took over the playroom. The playroom became her room. So now my living room was the playroom. And her room, years later, when I was still in corporate, became her room and my office, you know?
Okay, if you have any questions about the home buying process, be sure to put them in the chat. Now's the time.
I'll put my contact information in there too.
think somebody put it
So
in there. Yeah, they did. They put it in there for you.
okay.
Yes, so it's in the chat box.
Yeah, and I'll put it in there too because it has a link that can go in there and show them how to set up an appointment with me if they have any questions for that. Let's see, all the panelists and attendees.
Okay, we did
They
have
can do
a
that.
question come in, Lisa, from Courtney. She says, what percentage of annual income should go toward home costs?
By law, what they say is for the max on a loan, they won't approve any more than 49% DTI. The old rule of thumb is 36%. The great thing now, you can kind of challenge that a little bit more because interest rates are so low. You know, when we first bought our first home was 8%. And I thought we were getting robbed. I was like, Mom, you told me to work on my credit, get this stuff together, and they want to give us 8%. She's like, when me and your dad bought our home, and he's a veteran, we were 16%. Girl, be quiet. So we did that. And look at now, interest rates are 2% and 3%, 4%. Even last year, people bought at 5%, but that's still under the national average. Okay. So it makes your dollar go a little bit high, a little bit further.
Yes. And we have a question from Claudia. She says, a homestead exemption is something to request. What other items should we look into for seeking and requesting for first-time buyers / a recent home purchase?
Your homestead exemption is in Texas, you definitely want to do, but you can't do that until after you purchase and it's that year. So if you purchase this year, you can't even request your homestead exemption into January. We set up different things. We communicate with you all the time. We do videos and different things like that. So we bug you to make sure you do your homestead exemption, but you do it one time. And unless something else changes, you only have to file it once. And when I mean something else changes, let's say you unfortunately become disabled. You want to go ahead and get your disability exemption. A senior, mature audience, you want to go ahead and ask for your senior discount. If you become a full-fledged disabled veteran, you want to go ahead and get those. So those are things that change your homestead exemption. That's not something you do at the beginning of that process. You want to ask about first-time home buyers programs if they're available. You want to ask for professional discounts, your educators, your first responders, your firefighters, your military. See what options are that. And that's pretty much it. There's an MCC tax credit, one that they give you that's available too in the state of Texas. But those are things your lender is going to go with and tell you your maximum options for those.
Okay. Question from Misty. What's the quickest way to increase home buying power? Say I'm approved for 200,000, but I need 300,000 for the area where I want to reside.
We getting a new job, or we're reducing debt. Hey, come on, let's get that, or win the lottery. We got 3 options. It's going to really depend on your debt to income ratio. So if you can reduce your debt, I know student loans play a big factor for people. So we can reduce that or get the percentage where your income based, that helps you a lot. If you get a job that has more income, permanent job that's more income, you can have that. You can work a part-time job, but for it to count, you got to have 2 consecutive years for that. What else did she ask? Win the lottery. It does happen. It does. It does. And then just kind of say, I want to live in that area, but maybe can I live here for 5 years and then use my proceeds to reinvest in a larger area, because you're earning equity. You're getting paid to stay in your home and you're building that automatic savings to help you purchase. My client yesterday, we sold her house. She walked away with a nice 6 figures and she's going to pay off a little bit of debt and we're reinvesting the difference to get a newer home. So
that's awesome. All right. Well, again, you all, we're trying to be mindful of everyone's time, especially our presenter, Ms. Lisa Woolard. I know you all have lots of questions. You all have a contact information. And for those of you working with your counselors, feel free to ask those questions. We have, again, had a blast all week teaching financial literacy. It's been so much fun. And this is, like I said, this is the end of it for the week. But know that all those sessions have been pre-recorded. So you can go back and watch on demand whenever you can, okay? Lisa, do you have anything final to add?
No, thank you guys. I appreciate your time. Thank you for letting me sit in with this. You are in good hands. Definitely follow your budget. Lord, build your savings. Watch your credit. Start with your annual free credit report if you want to do that. You can even use your Credit Karma as a guide. It's not accurate as much because it gives you a Vantage score, not your FICO, but you can use it. But definitely engage your family. This is a family investment. My kids are real vocal when telling me about their 25%, even into my real estate business. She tells me about her 25%. So make sure they're involved in that and you can enjoy this. Stay focused on your dreams and put it on your vision board.
All right. Thank you so much, Lisa. And thank you all for attending today. We certainly do appreciate you.